Hey guys, it's Tom, Operations Manager at Richfield Blacktop again, talking about what type of tools you might need for the job. All right, so you'll need some gravel, which you can get at any recycle yard. You need to have a 4-yard trailer, and you can just haul 4 yards at a time, and that would work just fine. Rebar you can get at Menards, Home Depot. They have rebar. You can also get rebar at most concrete supply houses. So you'll need some rebar ties to tie the rebar together. You'll need a saw to cut the rebar with, and also to trim up any concrete overlay pieces that might be coming off the edge of the sidewalk. Some crusty concrete on the edge of the garage. You'll want to get some stakes to hold the forms, and you can use metal stakes or wood stakes. Most people are just going to use wood stakes because that's what's available at Home Depot or Menards, and they're not very expensive. You'll need a lot of 2x4s. You'll need to measure off, the driveway and get the amount of 2x4s that you would need. Hammer. You'll need some nails. Some concrete rakes. Now, the rakes you can purchase or you can rent. Concrete supply houses have them for purchase, or you can go to any concrete or any rental place to rent the concrete supplies that you need. You need a Bobcat type machine, which you can rent for the day. Some paint to do some marking with, a tape measure, a string line with about I would say a minimum of 50 feet, but if you could get 100 feet, that would be better. A 4 or 6 foot level, the longer the better, but if you have a 4 foot, that would work. A screed, you could use a 2x4 for that, like a 10 foot or 8 foot 2x4 would work for a screed. And you'll need cut some rebar really short, like 6 or 8 inches, to use as pins for measuring the thickness of the concrete. You'll need a vibrating machine, which we call a plate compactor. You can rent those as well at the same place that you rent your Bobcat. Now doing the forming of the driveway. The first thing you want to do is string line the driveway once all the material is removed. String line that out from the edge of the garage or from the edge of wherever you're forming your driveway. And you can see them there. Got the string line up. When you set your forms, you're going to want to make sure that you have a good 1/4 inch per foot drop away from your house. And if you have good drainage like this house had, we just string lined it from the foundation right up to the street. And that's what we used for grade, because there was plenty of drop. We had more than a 1/4 inch per foot. To do that, you'll have to have a level, and you can just put it on your form and lift it up till your level shows level, and then you just measure. And you can see Tim there, he's nailing it down to the ground, and then he'll nail that stake to the form right on the top of the string line. As you can see there, it's real easy. Once you get it string lined, you can just take your form and level it right there. And once you got the driveway formed out, then you just start grading out with the Bobcat and getting things to grade. You see here we're just cleaning up the edge, getting the expansion in. The expansion you can get at any concrete supply store. You'll be making a trip there. Get things that you need. A good 2 to 4 to 6 inches of base. That gives you a nice layer between the subsoil and the concrete to absorb any moisture, give it a little bit of cushion for the concrete to breathe. You see they were kind of raking down the forms, getting a full 4 inches of concrete. That's your standard depth that you want for a driveway is 4 inches. If you have some heavy duty, like trailers or things like that that you're going to be driving on the driveway, you're going to want to maybe go to 5 inches. But most driveways are poured at 4 inches. Well, here's what we're doing now in the middle of the driveway. Since your screeds are usually only 6 to 8, 10 feet wide, you got to be able to hit the middle pipe here, and we put that 4 inches above grade, and then we spray paint it so no one trips on it. So it's important that you do that so no one gets injured. See there, and then so what we'll do is when we screed out the concrete, that screed board that you see right there, we'll just hit the top of that pipe rebar piece, and then the other side will be on the form, so you got a full 4 inches all the way across. And you can see Tony here is using the screed actually to make sure that it's 4 inches all the way across. Sometimes you can get humped up in the middle, and so that screed makes sure that it's 4 inches across the middle too. Because if you get too thin in the middle, then you're going to get cracking and other problems. See you can see we just screed that all the way down, all the way across. The plate compactor comes out, and we whack that down. Get really good compaction on the gravel, so there's no settling under the concrete, because that's how you can get cracks. Just go back and forth. You can do this with the roller too, but roller takes up quite a bit of space, so we just use a plate compactor. Here we're getting the rebar ready for the driveway. Use a 20-foot rebar, and then we cut it to size. This was 18 feet wide, and so we would just get, like you saw there, like 20 pieces of rebar, and then just cut them all at once with the saw. And then we do 4 foot on center. That's kind of a standard width for rebar, so we just measure that out. Sometimes it gets a little less than 4 feet, and that's okay. Especially on the edges, it's like 2 feet on the edges there, and then it'll be 4 feet across. And then we cross brace it with another piece. And this is your standard way to do rebar to get the maximum amount of strength in the concrete. This helps hold the concrete together, and then we just use some ties and tie them together so they don't move while we're pouring the concrete. And what we do, this is a 50-foot driveway, so we did a 25-foot section and then another 25-foot section, so then we can just lift them out, and you'll probably see that later in the video. So they got that whole section there, and now you can see the second section going in, and then we'll lift that out later so the concrete truck can just back right up to the first section, and then as we're pouring it, we'll pull that rebar up into the concrete. In this case, we're in Chanhassen, so they require a little bit different for the right-of-way area. They require rebar 2 foot on center. You want to call the city inspections department and ask them about that, if a permit's required or not, and what the requirements are for the right-of-way and what the setback requirements are.